What's up, my friends? Welcome back to another vlog. And today's video, I guess you could say, is going to be kind of like an offshoot of yesterday's video when I was talking about, how come I can't get famous unless I live in LA or California. And again, waking up this morning on a cold winter morning, watching some Stranger Things. And I thought that I would make like a quick video today that was like, basically a message to the Duffer Brothers, I guess you could say, about Stranger Things and kind of like my ideas for where they could go with some story concepts and just, generally like how to like construct the show in the future. And I should say right off the bat, I'm not, here telling them this is not a video about telling the Duffer Brothers how to make their show. Obviously, they're always going to be in charge of making their show. I would never, come on here and be like, you need to do this and you need to do that. I just had some ideas, I just generally had some ideas about the show that I thought might work out. And basically, what I wanted to say, like first and foremost, is that the Duffer Brothers, they've made a stunning, captivating, amazing, excellent TV show. It is so brilliantly acted and executed, and it's just become one of my new favorite TV shows of all time. It's just amazing. It is absolutely amazing how everything in that show comes together so perfectly. And they really should be commended for the work that they're doing on this show. You guys should be commended for the work that you're doing on Stranger Things. But I'm not the only one that has become captivated with the show. I mean, the entire country and soon the entire world is going to be captivated by Stranger Things, and it should be, because it is just, it's an A+ show, it's A+ material. And what's happening right now is that already there's a lot of fan fiction that's starting to pop up around Stranger Things, including myself. Many of you guys out there know that I'm a writer myself, and even I have stopped with like my major projects. I'm working on my grandmother's memoirs right now. I'm working on my masterpiece, my fantasy masterpiece right now. And even I have stopped working on that just for a little bit, because even I'm coming up with some Stranger Things fan fiction, some really awesome fan fiction for this show. And I thought it was worth making a video about this subject. Like, I think that, seasons 3 and seasons 4, while they'll always be run by the Duffer Brothers, what I think that they should do is they should continue to get more ideas from more people. Because if you look at the credits for like every single episode of Stranger Things 1 and 2, almost every single episode is a different writer. And that's great. Bring as many writers in as possible as long as they understand the show. Because you get a lot of people out there that are like 80s babies like me, right, that grew up during the 80s, and that really understand this show, that really have, I guess you could say, kind of have like a vision for this show. And that we find this show to be so important in our lives right now that we're actually stopping writing. And a lot of people out there are just the same as me. They're working on their other stories, their other fantasy stories. They're actually stopping what they're doing right now to write fan fiction for Stranger Things already. Stranger Things is brand new. It just got here. And you have people just kicking up this fan fiction already. And what I think the Duffer Brothers should do is pay more attention to the fan fiction. You have a lot of talented writers, once again, that aren't just in California. You have a lot of talented writers from all over the United States, including myself, that are starting to write this fan fiction for the show. Why don't you guys branch out a little bit across the United States? Find some other writers out there that are doing some fan fiction for the show. See if you might like some other story ideas, because I think that's what's really going to keep the show fresh. I mean, realistically, is you keep that cycle going that they've already got going, which is featuring different writers. That's good. Feature as many different writers as you can, as long as they have that vision for the show, as long as they understand the show, and as long as their ideas are really good. I think that that's a great direction to go in, to invite in many different writers from all over the place. I think that's a great trend to keep going, and I really hope that they do, because the show is brilliant, and there's also a lot of brilliant writers out there that are creating fan fiction from all over. and let's give them some attention. Bring them in. Do some active searching. I know that I'm going to be posting some fan fiction myself, and there's so many talented writers out there. So many talented writers. I've read some of the fan fiction, and some of it is very, very good. Some really talented writers behind this stuff, and it needs more attention paid to it. And I mean, maybe other shows and other companies can take this into consideration too, that maybe they should be paying more attention to fan fiction writers. Maybe they should be paying way more close attention to fan theories, because sometimes fan theories can be better than anything that anybody can come up with. Some kid somewhere can come up with some random theory, and bam, that creates all these different ideas. And so we need to be incorporating more and more writers, as many writers as we can, on this property, especially on a property like Stranger Things. And they're talking about at least going maybe like for 4 seasons. I'd like to see it maybe go for 5 or 6, as long as you guys can find lots of different writers to come in and continue this show. Definitely a trend that you guys need to keep going on this absolutely genius TV show that you have. And also, I had another idea that I'd like to share just quickly before I wrap up this video, and that is, I know it's really way too early to be talking about like offshoot shows, like shows that would branch off of this one, but I had a great idea for an offshoot show, actually several of them, from Stranger Things. I live in Maine, right? And Maine has got some of the greatest history of any state in the United States. It really does. Some of the most fascinating history, but we also have a lot of lore here, right? We got ghost stories, we got Sasquatch, we've got alien abductions and stuff like that. Lots of strange stuff. There's a store right downtown in downtown Portland called Strange Maine, where it's just a collection of all this like strange stuff, right? It's like Maine is known for being a very strange kind of eerie state with a lot of kind of like folklore history that's very specific to Maine. And it got me thinking, like, this would be kind of awesome to adapt to Stranger Things. Like, if the show should ever end, like its main stretch should ever end, like say they go 4 seasons and they decide to end with the 4th season, well, it would be awesome to branch the show out, right, to individual states. And you call each show Strange whatever, Strange, right? Strange Florida, Strange Texas, Strange California, Strange Maine, Strange Massachusetts, Strange whatever. And then you have these individual stories in each state. And what you do is you send these little production teams out there. Doesn't even have to be a big production team. Stranger Things does use a lot of effects, but it's all in post. All the other stuff that's shot in the neighborhood can be done by small production teams. So why not, pick a couple of states, right? And then send small production teams out to each state, and then let kids or people that maybe like live around the area, or just some, a handful of people live around the area. They can do some of the acting, maybe some of them can do some of the writing, right? You bring local kids on, local film crews to come on and film some of the stuff, like I said, do some of the acting and do some of the writing and stuff like that, so that they can get credited. That would be a great way to keep Stranger Things going. You keep Stranger Things going with Strange Maine, Strange Florida, Strange Texas, Strange, and you have these individual stories from these states featuring writers and actors from the states in the TV shows, and storylines from the states as well. All of the states. Think about pretty much any state in the United States, right? It all has specific lore tied to the states. Well, those are the stories that you adapt into the states. You adapt those as stories, and you tie it all in with Stranger Things. You tie everything together. We're at the end of season 2, right? And we only know about 11 and 8, right? Supposedly, there's all these other kids out there, right? It's like we have a long way to go with this show, and a lot of branching off possibly to do as well. So those are just a couple of my ideas. And again, not stepping on any toes, not telling the Duffer Brothers how to run their program. You guys can go in any direction that you want to. It's just that I had these kind of like ideas that I wanted to get off my chest and share, and hopefully like they might hear it and maybe think that it might be a good idea, because I certainly do. I really do think it's really important to start paying attention to like local fans, local areas, local writers and actors, and actually bringing out more of these stories from people that don't really ever get noticed. You know, you have talented writers everywhere that don't really get noticed. Well, Stranger Things is a perfect show to bring these, right? These mics out, right? These mics, these wallflowers, right? Mics and Wills out of hiding, right? These kids that never get recognized. Let's bring these kids in as people on the show, involved in some way, you know. So those are my thoughts for Stranger Things, and a little brief message there to the brilliant Duffer Brothers. I am so looking forward to season 3. I cannot tell you guys, like, I'm climbing up the walls waiting for season 3 of Stranger Things. I've just been binge watching 1 and 2, you know, in my off time. Sometimes I just leave it running in the background, you know, for comfort. It's just such a brilliant TV show, and I love to just sit down and just concoct like ideas and like write my own little like stories and stuff, and I don't usually do that. I don't ever write fan fiction, but Stranger Things has actually really inspired me to write fan fiction. I'm actually, like I said, I'm actually stopping what I'm doing right now to actually jot down just some skeletons of like some story ideas, and that doesn't happen. Like, I don't do that. TV shows don't generally inspire me. Movies inspire me sometimes, but a lot of my ideas just come from right here and right here. You know, obviously. So I don't write a lot of fan fiction for that reason. This is a show where I just kind of stopped in my tracks and I was like, man, I got a lot of ideas, like I gotta write some of these down. I just can't help it. I've just gotta write some ideas down. And how many other people are there out there just like me, right? So that's the point of this video. So now it's time for you guys, of course, to leave all your thoughts and opinions down below in the great white void. And I'll see you guys back here for the next vlog very soon. Later.